Hey everybody, this is Roger Mendoza. Thank you so much for joining us on our Monday call. We usually have our Monday calls every Monday throughout the week, throughout the month, sometimes except the last Monday. But we do two oil calls or two calls that has to do relations to any oil education. We talked about frankincense, clove last month. This month we're going to be talking about Slim and Sassy, which Slim and Sassy is the one of the products of the month as well. And I did talk a little about Hinoki on the last call. I recorded it before we went out to Utah. But today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Slim and Sassy side of things. Just due to the fact that Caroline love. I can't say enough. Love. Slim and Sassy. We take this stuff every morning, every afternoon. Sometimes if we are dragging a little bit, sometimes a little bit more in the afternoon than in the middle of the day. And I'll talk a little bit more about why that is. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. I know we only have about 25, 30 minutes. I have done this presentation before at Oil Up, which is one of our annual education slash opportunity building for doTERRA. Basically, we do this every year, and this year it's going to be July 11th. If you guys are willing to come out to Tampa, we teach about 300 to 400 people at a church out in Sefner, Florida, and we have a great time because people from all over the states come, and sometimes outside of the states they come out to visit us just because they want to listen not only to us but some of our leaders within the area, just talking about all kinds of essential education and opportunities that doTERRA has as well. So let's go ahead and get started. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to put them down into the chat or put them into the live. Some of our leaders will be looking at the live thing as well as I'll go afterwards just to look at it and answer any questions you guys may have. And if you guys could put down your goals and things, because the reason I want you to put down your goals in the chat or somewhere, because the more people see it, the more, I know sometimes it's scary to put it down, but it's more like an accountability, because if you shoot for doing it, then I'll be more of an encouragement to say that you're going to be the one doing it. I'll be the one, making sure that, if you are going for something or anybody else that sees it out there to push you a little bit harder. Not to say that, we're going to, push you really hard, but, kind of an encouragement. So let's go and get started. These are the 5 steps to slim and confident. I put the new you ninja there, but it's basically what you're going to be doing. You're going to be a ninja to becoming a new you. Caroline and myself, we're Blue Diamonds. We have been with a company for going on 10 years now. The company, doTERRA, is going to be 11 years old coming in February. And I don't think it's going to ever stop. doTERRA has been going forever. So let's go ahead and get started. In the beginning, it wasn't easy at all. Here's a little bit of some of the synopsis over the years of myself and Caroline, going everything from going down to like 200 pounds and then going back up to 300 pounds and then going back down to 250 and then going back up to over 300. My highest weight was 307 pounds. Caroline's highest weight was 352 pounds. It wasn't easy at all, I could tell you. It wasn't easy to lose this weight. Caroline in the beginning, 14 years ago, before we had any kids, we have 5 kids now. 2 of them are adopted. We've had any kids, they told us we couldn't have any kids. And I'm sure that many people that are overweight, and you probably have heard it, that, they can't have or conceive. And that was kind of devastating for us. But that's why we chose to adopt. And not to say adopting is the easy way. It's a phenomenal way to raise kids, and it's a phenomenal way to look at other kids' lives and raise them up as your own, because it's a miracle not only for you, but a miracle for them. But since they told us we couldn't conceive, Caroline, in the beginning, she did get the lap band surgery, kind of like a gastric bypass kind of thing, but it's just a lap band that goes across, and she lost 100 pounds, which was amazing. That's how we started. We were able to conceive with Kayla, which is one of our, she's our oldest biological. But after that, what happens is, she started eating a little bit more. And of course, we gained a little bit more weight during that time. And then we lost some more weight during that time. And then we had Roger, which is the second time we conceived. And not only did we gain some weight during that pregnancy, but we forgot to lose the weight. So overall, we kind of right at the beginning, right at the end, we plateaued. The lap band is not a a fix-all, or gastric surgery is not a fix-all either, because you do plateau during certain times depending on if of course, if my wife got pregnant. Me having sympathy eating, if you want to call it that, I would eat and eat and eat, and eating was not. It was almost like a pastime, like we just ate just for the heck of it. I remember eating, just sitting down and eating, watching TV, laying down and watching TV, and eating at the same time. Coming home with 15 to 20 plus burgers sometimes. I remember back in the day when McDonald's was 69 cents or 79 cents. You would come home with cheap stuff, and that's we didn't know anything about it. So we'll talk a little bit more about to food choices that we can make that are more appropriate for this type of lifestyle. So let's go ahead and start with number one. Brain versus food, the ultimate battle before the craving. Your brain is calling. The reason why I put that in there is because sometimes when and some people could vouch for this, is that what happens is we go into emotional eating, right? We basically break down, and like we try for so hard, and all of a sudden we break down and we go towards the stuff that we know is easy to allow our brain, it's literally our brain is functioning against us, saying, hey, we want to go towards the sugar, we want to go towards something that will give us the dopamine rush. And the dopamine rush is what basically allows our brain, our reward system, which is basically this nucleus accumbens. I'm not going to get so super technical on here, but it allows us to be like this. We want to just take in as much sugar as we want. The reason being because dopamine is a sugar rush, right? So whenever dopamine is the same thing. Like if you post something online and no one likes it, your dopamine goes down. Basically, your serotonin kind of goes up, and it makes you kind of sleepy. At the same time as you making possibly your gamma and your thetas your gamma will go down and your theta goes up, meaning that you start getting depressed, which is not really cool, right? So that's what happens with emotional eating. Dopamine levels is basically what makes you go up. So you eat a little bit of sugar, dopamine basically releases into your bloodstream, which gives you that rush, right? Because that's what people are like, oh, I'm a happy feeling. But what happens after you eat a bunch of cakes, or you eat something that has a lot of sugar, or you have something that has a lot of carbs, something that is not best for our body to break down, is basically what our brain basically reacts to, which is not cool. So, and instead of having our mind fixated on that, we sometimes fixate our minds on not only that, but sometimes the weight itself. We step on this thing called the scale, and we look at it and we're like, oh man, this thing's never going to be moving, right? So what would you do if you could actually do this instead, right? So instead of fixating yourself on the number that's on there, we're going to help you fixate on some things that are more beyond the number than you can actually think of. And I know that this call might not be super detail. I'll get a little bit more detail in regards to our routine, but super detail on what we can do. But it's all up to us on what we can do and what our mind can do, right? To achieve this type of weight loss, right? So we have to first change our minds to accept that, when we step on this scale, it's just nothing but a number, kind of like they talk about age. Even if it goes up a little bit, even if it goes down a little bit, if you change your mind to say that you're going to pursuing something, it's a little bit easier for your mind to keep going, right? To be a more habitual way of it. So in the beginning, some of the stories that we shared before was when we were losing weight with Slim and Sassy, and which is kind of like a side effect. Really, they don't advertise it as that. They say it's more of a metabolic regulator, but kind of they say it's a side effect that you lose weight, but it's more like a positive side effect that you lose weight. But the thing is that when we were losing weight, we saw little things that we didn't expect. And that made us motivate even more, right? And one of the things was this thing called the dreaded, when you go on an airplane, they say, when you buckle yourself in, we were so big that we couldn't even buckle ourselves in. You raise your hand, and you're like, hey, can I have the seatbelt extender? Sometimes the flight attendants aren't as how do I put it, quiet enough to say, hey, you know, somebody over here needs this, you know, instead of talking to the flight attendant, they almost like they shout it across and like, hey, this person over here doesn't fit in a chair. Please bring me a big person extender, pretty much that's what they call it. They don't really call it that way, but you know, it's embarrassing and it lowers your self-esteem. So what I wanted to do is one of these, you know, I wanted to just take this and just rip it in half, like, but that's what my mindset was. Like, I did not want to be in this thing anymore. Caroline's was, I did not want that mindset to be in here. At the same time, the laptop trays, remember, not the lap trays, remember the lap trays were big enough that the lap trays would, you know, basically hit our stomach, right? So when we put the lap trays down for the first time, then we didn't have to like eat on our, you know, with the lap tray up and actually crumbs all over us. That was an amazing feat. And that's the most little small things were the ones that kind of like helped us keep going. This one right here is one of the biggest things for me. I don't have a picture of my kids, but I just put this up here. But my kids would always ask me all the time. And it was so, I don't want to cry, but it was so heart-wrenching not to say no to them. Because my knees would hurt, my heart would be palpitating, I would be out of breath so much to, you know, to go outside and play with them, and I couldn't. And just the ability to go outside with my son and play a lot more with him, and just have the ability to just breathe in the appropriate air without, you know, almost passing out, going to work and going up and down the stairs. You know, I used to go to Tampa General, which is a hospital around there. I used to be an engineer, and, you know, running around the hospital as a big guy, you know, and trying to help somebody out is not worthwhile to you, because, you know, you're out of breath, you know that you're out of shape, and you know you want to be better, not only for yourself, but for your kids and for, you know, anything that it's in life that requires momentum, right? It requires some effort. So I want to be like this. I want to just chase my kids, be able to pursue them in any which way possible, and just be able to do the things that a father can do, right? So this is how we went about it. There's this thing called the 5-second rule. Have you ever heard of Mel Robbins? She's an amazing speaker. She used to be an anchor woman on CNN. Some of her stuff is controversial, but if you look her up on TED Talk, she's pretty cool. She wrote a book called the 5-second rule, I think it was called. But basically it talks about, if you think about it and you know if you have time for it, why not do it, right? Basically it's it, you know, like people ponder, you know, like, hey, you know, should I go for this, you know, this healthy snack, or should I go for this, you know, cookie sugar-filled snack, right? And more people think about it, people go usually with the sugar-filled, but it's just to stop and think for that 5 seconds and really say to yourself, is that really good for me? And if the answer is no, choose the other one, right? Thoughts are like a rabbit hole. They keep going. And basically what I mean by that, it just, some things allow for you to have that self-talk to demotivate you. It's more demotivating to self-talk and just create a way to get out of that rabbit hole. And I'll share some of the oils that has helped myself and Caroline to move past this to more of an emotional side of things. Because like I'm telling you, if you have never been overweight as big as I was, and big as Caroline was, as I was, and you've always been, not to say skinny, but you've always been thin and not overweight. Some of you have not seen the other side. The emotional side is so devastating for our minds, and getting out of it is hard. All right. And hopefully some of the things that I share with you you guys will take and just be able to pursue and do. So even the last thing is that even only if you do those tasks for at least 10 seconds a day, these are called microtasking. If you do it, I swear to you that if you do it enough, it will come true. All right, so let's move on. So some of the things that we use to start for confidence wise, because our self-esteem was pretty low. So some of the things that we used was balance, right? I used to put it on, I still do, I have it downstairs, I have it with me. Balance right here on my wrist, balance, bergamot, and sandalwood. I will keep it equal parts. Sometimes I put a little bit more, sometimes I put less. Usually I just start with one drop each. I move it up to 2 and then 3 a little bit later. Balance, bergamot, and Hawaiian sandalwood. I call this my confidence blend, and you guys could use it. And if you could use this at least 2 to 3 times a day when you feel that lull of you think that you can't, put this on and just, it's not like a chant or anything like that, but just put affirmations towards you that you can do this, and look for little things that can help you create that confidence in you that you're doing really well. Like even if you ate a burger that night, that day, don't kill yourself because you ate a burger. You know what I mean? Think of it as, okay, well, I ate a salad today also, right? But I also ate a burger. Don't kill yourself just because you ate a burger. You know what I mean? You will eventually become who you are later on, and it's a beautiful thing when that does happen. All right, so confidence starts. So spruce, here's some of the emotional side of things. This is all what's inside of balance. Okay, so spruce releases tensions and emotional blocks. Wood, powerful sedative, offering grounding and calming effects. Frankincense is amazing. I have this thing like all the time. Frankincense is one of the oils that I go for, not only like strengthening my mood or my balancing my anger or thing like that, or my rage. Something not rage, but more like, like the Papa Bear's coming out, like something, everything happens throughout the day, and it all compiles. Frankincense is my go-to because it kind of releases your stress. Frankincense is great for cognitive ability to remember your name, remember your kids' names, and remember things that you want to say and verbalize things a lot better. Blue tansy is amazing for detoxifying, and then blue chamomile is for anti-inflammatory. So all these combined emotional way it creates a great way for balance to be grounding for yourself. Bergamot, if you look at the emotional side of things, is one of the things that is needed part of this confidence blend. I carry there. Actually, this past weekend, we went to Utah. We went to Utah, and somebody asked for bergamot. I'm like, out of all the citrus oils, I pull out bergamot. Like, no one really carries out bergamot, but I carry it just because it's the oil of self-love. Because if you don't love yourself now, just like money, like if people have a lot of money, happiness doesn't come from money. All right. If you don't love yourself now, later on, we want to make sure that you love yourself either today or then, right? Or in the future. Self-worth, that's amazing, because if you don't feel that you're worthy to pursue something, if you don't feel worthy that you can do something, or the value that comes out of your mouth, then we need to work on that too. So, and of course, self-acceptance. And then Hawaiian sandalwood quiets the mind, allows you to think confidently, and to think a lot more quietly, reduce all the noise that's kind of like against you. I've always thought as thoughts as if you're sitting on a bench and there's a bicycle that's coming along, and you're seeing this bicycle go along, and that's the thought that's going across. Don't grab on and talk to it. If it's something that's bad, just let it go by. If it's something that you need, then talk to the person that, or whoever the thought is that's on that bicycle. That's kind of the way I think of thoughts if you want to visualize something. All right, so actually I should go back. We do have a gift for you. I do have some oils that we're going to give away, but I'm going to go ahead and show that at the end, just because I don't want to part of the recording when we do share this later on. So step number 2 is phone a friend, have some type of accountability partner to create a way for you to say that I am doing something. Like I said, last week we had accountability partners to learn a little bit more about these essential oils, learn about how the doTERRA's opportunity works. And so I got an accountability partner to help me through things, and for me to let them know what I'm doing. And then they respond back, okay, cool, you're doing this, well, I'm doing this. And it's kind of like not a challenge, but it's almost like he's keeping you on your toes, right, in a way. So support, you need somebody from family, if you can, somebody from a friend. Sometimes families is hard too, because sometimes they know you too well, and they know that if you haven't kept your word on certain things, they might be the ones that deflating you, right? So friends sometimes are good as well, but if you have somebody that you're doing it with, right, and you're losing weight with, it's a lot better doing it that way as well. And of course, Match.com. Just kidding. Match.com is that, but I put that on there as a funny joke. All right, so meetup.com is pretty good. Meetup.com, there are weight loss groups out there, you know, and not only that, but if they don't know about the essential oils, it's an easy way for you to let them know this is the way I'm doing it. And if you're losing weight and they're stuck on things, you know, it's easier for you to say, hey, you know, I'm using Slim and Sassy and this particular protocol in order for me to lose weight. And they'll be more likely to do it because you're really already losing weight. I don't know how many people come up to us kind of like, I feel like a doctor sometimes. They're like, you know, how many should I take of these? How many should I take of that? I'm like, not prescribing things, but it's like, it's funny because like everybody's different, but this is my routine that what I did. Yeah, so you use meetup.com. Facebook groups are amazing too. There's ones out there that are not even oil related. That's something about either things that you can cook or things that allow you to change your mindset. Even things on regards to certain diets like keto. We use keto a lot just because it's, and we use intermittent fasting. I don't talk too much about this, but if you have questions afterwards, we could talk more about it later. Food. It's kind of like a love-hate relationship kind of thing. It's not a diet, it's more like a life change, right? So here's part of the things that we kind of eat, right, throughout the year. And I wanted to put that out here just because it's something that we don't see as often, and sometimes we don't even look it up. We just put things in our mouth and, you know, have at it, who cares? But I wanted you to see, you know, in a year, this is one person. All right, about 200 burgers if you eat hamburgers or pizza, 25 pounds of pizza, 415 pounds of basically soda or 500 cans, and I put 150 pounds or 13,000 teaspoons of sugar. That's kind of crazy, and there's some documentation out there and some movies out there, and of course some documentations out there, or documentaries out there on how sugar affects our body. And, you know, sometimes they even call sugar kind of like a drug as well, because it's almost like that other white powder, they say, because it's so addictive, because our body really per se doesn't require it, because our body already creates glucose by itself. We don't really need any excess of it, you know, and the devastation of this is because if we do eat too much sugar, then we produce more insulin, right? We produce more insulin. So our pancreas, I think it's our pancreas, they produce more insulin, right? And then if we produce too much insulin, it overproduces too much insulin. And then it doesn't know how to produce enough because you're taking in too much sugar. So you become insulin deficient, basically meaning that you become diabetic. That's basically the how you become diabetic. And it sometimes it's more like a chemical imbalance if it's not a sugar. It's just basically you are born. Sometimes kids are born insulin deficient, and that's the way that their bodies are produced or their bodies are made. But over time, adults sometimes tend to eat too much sugar, and then that's usually why diabetes comes along. So what can we do about it? Some of the things that we can do about it is basically feed ourselves, not our checkbook. You know, some things that we could actually get. And, you know, if you're on a small budget, even to bigger budgets, you can get things that are amazing for our body. You know, I know a lot of you on here are already naturally minded, are already creating a movement in your family to be more of a family that does not have like preservatives in the house or artificial colors or things like that, or sugars. And our family, I could tell you, our family is not super perfect, but, you know, we do sometimes eat pizza. It's okay. You know, like I said, don't like, that's one of the things, like sometimes we lock ourselves to certain things and we stop ourselves. When we stop ourselves, we kind of like tend to go the other way and just forget about this diet. I'm just going to go eat a bunch of stuff, right? But if you indulge yourself once in a while, it's okay. You know, it's something that we're all human. You know, we can't stop ourselves from having a good slice of pizza sometimes. But, you know, Coca-Cola or soda or pizza and things like that, you could have an alternative to it. And these alternatives, I kind of listed a small amount on there, but, you know, if you cook at home, let's say Jessica Frick put it, it's a process, not perfection. Amen to that. You know, it's a process, big time. Caroline and I did not do this overnight. Caroline and I probably the last 3 years and 4 years to actually have this this lifestyle. And for the first 2 years, so, you know, we got a lot of stuff off, we maintained, and we still haven't lost, like, we haven't gotten to the key point or the key weight that we want to get to, but we're not 100 pounds over it. You know what I mean? We're still maintaining, which is pretty cool. We, of course, we go up 10 pounds and lose 10 pounds, or go up to, you know, 15 pounds and then go back down 15 pounds, but it's okay as long as you have that mindset of going back to what you need to do. And we know what we need to do. We just sometimes as humans, you know, come December, you know, we're like, oh, that's a lot of food on that table over there. I might have some of that food. But you just have to make your own decisions, right? And like she said, it's a process. Tell sugar who's boss. You know, Slim and Sassy, the metabolic blend this month is amazing. I'm glad that they put it on there because it's something that allows you to create a metabolic movement in your body, and it's so systemic that it allows for every cell in your body to basically work for you instead of against you. It allows you I don't know, some people have heard of the Mito2 Max, which is one of the supplements. The Slim and Sassy does the same thing. Mito2 Max is just an extra if you want to use Mito2 Max to increase your mitochondrial production. So basically, Slim and Sassy does the same thing. And I'll show you why, or I'll tell you briefly on what these components can do to create that. So let's say ginger, for the first one right there, ginger it has an enzyme in it that allows you to, for the rhizome actually, that allows you to break down certain bacteria in your body that allows for certain your flora to receive certain nutrition within your body. So you can actually, when you do take your Terra greens or you do take your trim shakes, or you do take any of your supplements like that, it's a lot readily available to receive those nutritions. So even if you take ginger by itself in water, that's a start. Peppermint, the next thing up, is more invigorating, and that allows more of not only for gut health, but allows for good, you know, good breath of fresh air, of course, of your lungs. But it also reacts to certain cultures inside of your body or inside of your stomach lining. Cinnamon, the next one. Cinnamon is a big one. Cinnamon, it helps you to regulate sugar. All right, so if you have a craving of sugar, or if you have, you need a certain regulations within your body, lower, high blood sugar, it helps regulate the blood sugar. So you're not only your mind, but your insulin dependency doesn't have to be increased. So people use that a lot for insulin deficiency. Lemon. All right, lemon is great for uplifting, of course, and I love lemon because lemon is it's like one of those so you could just smell it and like you could fall in love with it just by the smell. Lemon is detoxifying. It allows you for breakdown around your cells. So like if you take your cell, the breakdown on the outside is all oil-based. So it breaks down any of the membranes on the outside in order for your cells to receive it. Grapefruit is the last one, but the best one. Grapefruit is known to actually break down the lipids, which is basically your fat cells, to not only lipids you can remove, or you know, they won't really go away from your body. You could deflate them. That's basically what they do. So when you have fat, it's stored inside the lipid, and if it doesn't use it because we're taking in too much fat or too much carbs or too many things, too many sugars, then the lipids are going to stay there and they're not going to deflate. It's almost like when you have a bear hibernating, they basically eat a lot of food to, you know, store a lot of fat. So during the winter, they basically use that fat to basically feed the rest of their cells or rest of their body. So it's basically the same thing that we do, but grapefruit is amazing because it helps break it down. And not only people use grapefruit by itself, but they use Slim and Sassy. If you put it topically with a little bit of fractionated coconut oil, it helps reduce cellulite appearances. And of course, I think some people have used it for lightening of like varicose veins. I think they use that along with like helichrysum or blue tansy to start reducing the appearance of varicose veins as well. And like I said, if you have any questions inside of the chat, I'll start checking as well. I call this smack fat in the face combination. It's basically the Slim and Sassy, and I love it because it's basically allowed Caroline and I to be who we are today. I broke this down just a little bit more, and it'll be part of the recordings if you guys want to stop this here. Step number 4, I know exercise is not the best things for some people. When they think about it, they're like, oh, exercise. Like Caroline, my wife, she's like, I'd rather watch you exercise and sweat, and I'll just sweat through you. But it's okay, because like she lost, I think she's actually lost more weight than I have, which kind of stinks, but it's okay. She did it for me. Exercise, I was like doing all kinds of like P90Xs and all kinds of stuff, but in the beginning, I don't do that as much. I kind of like do small intermittent exercises where I do like Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and just do small 20-minute workouts, which really anybody could do, and you could do that right after, right before you take your nightly shower or your morning shower. You could do that right before your morning shower. So just take a pick on wherever you need to do in just 20 minutes. And I don't do anything rigorous, anything from, and I'll show you a little bit of exercises that I kind of do, but some other more extended ones, of course, like weightlifting and things like that, for like 20 minutes, and it's nothing really extensive. All right, so let's go over exercise. Exercise, according to the American Heart Association, we only exercise about 1.9 hours in the day. That's not really cool, because I don't know where the 1.9 hours come from, but it's probably just walking back and forth between getting up and going in the car and going to work and getting back to work and coming back out. I don't think it takes that long, but about 17 minutes a day, it says, on average. So this is pretty cool, because it's pretty fun, this little guy. I did a push-up today. Well, actually, I fell down, but I had to use my arms to get back up. So close enough. Now I need chocolate. That's not something. Anyway, that's pretty fun. Lastly, one of the things is average TV time that we usually do is about 35 hours. That's kind of, it's not, the scale's off on that one. It's 35 hours you'd rather watch TV. And I could tell you that I sometimes go and binge watch, certain shows on Netflix, and, I put myself into that routine myself. I know that I have to take myself out. When I take myself out, I go back into exercising and eating right, doing my supplements, and doing my routines that I know that work. So we say we don't have exercise. We can even exercise during traffic. Is one of the things that I taught when I was up on stage, and I showed people, just go and sit back, relax, put your butt back into the chair, and you could do this as you're going to work, and you basically suck your stomach in, make it, flex it. We all have abs. It's under there somewhere. Flex it for about 2 minutes at a time, and then relax for 2 minutes, and then flex it again for 2 minutes, and then do as much as you can until you can't anymore. That's basically what the exercise is. By the time the next day, you're going to be a little bit sore, but you know that you've done something. See, these are the small things that I'm talking about. Even if you think you didn't do anything all day and you ate a burger after this, you did this, right? And if you do this long enough or more than once, it becomes habitual. So we say we watch too much TV. Even during watching TV, you can even do some of this. You know why? Because there's commercial breaks. During commercial breaks, you have time. Do some crunches, do some jump lunges, do some planks. Do something that you can do. If you, like, when I first started, I was pretty heavy set. Knees hurt, everything hurt. If I tried doing a push-up, I'd probably do one push-up and fall on my face. So I would start slow. I would do one push-up, and if I can only do one push-up, that's all I would do. And then I will do a crunch. If I can only do one crunch, I'll only do one crunch. But the point of it is to do it. And then over time, it starts to become easier, and you can do other exercises. And you're saying to yourself, I have Netflix, I have no commercial breaks, so I say no problem. So what you can do is if you go to Google, you could actually type in the name of the show that you watch and type in exercise routine or exercise workout. And when you do this, you'll come up with all kinds of plethoras of images out there and what you can do during the times certain things happen inside of the show. I blocked out some things because some things weren't super appropriate, probably still in there somewhere. But anyway, if you basically see a scene with them, right there on there, once it says the storybook sign and shown is shown, the storybook's shown, you do 40 jumping jacks. You know, under Game of Thrones, when someone, well, when someone has something else, you could do 15 lunges. But you get the idea on what you can do. Picking up your kids is pretty easy too, because then you could do just stand there. I don't know where you are in the United States, but here in Florida, you go into a parking lot and you sit there. We homeschool, but we used to do it, I'm sure it's still like that. You sit there for like 30 minutes, pretty much waiting for your kids. All the cars are there waiting because all the kids aren't out. So you might as well just get out and just talk to another parent and, you know, do these legs exercises while you're sitting there, or do it on the curb. You know, like I said, if you do small little things, you'll feel more accomplished and more productive at the end of the day. All right, so after all that, of course, you need to stop your inflammation. You need to do your deep blue rub, right? Deep blue rub localized. You can put it either on your knees, on your muscles after you worked out. If you have on your calves, if you do the calf raises, on your stomach a little bit. If you just be careful with certain areas. Further south, if you would please wash your hands with deep blue. And not only the supplements are amazing. If you haven't not taken the supplements, please do so. I'm not going to go too much over in detail what supplements are, but just in brief, the Microplex VMX or VMZ is basically the supplement that allows you to receive your nutrition that you need. Remember, I told you your peppermint, your rhizomes on the ginger allows you to break it down so you can receive better nutrition. The XA omega is your land and sea omegas, and your omegas through there. Omega 6 and 9, I think it is, and I think a little bit of 12. Alpha CRS is, they call it the grand poobah of them all, because alpha CRS is where your cells are going to react to the mitochondria to be higher, so you get more of that energy boost. All right, so, and not only the alpha CRS is also for inflammation too, so for reduction of that. Secret weapon, I'm sure you guys know what it is. It's pretty much using your oils, right? And I'll go a little bit into what each one is. We kind of talked about the deep blue and the supplements already. Slim Sassy, we kind of talked about it already. And I'll show you exactly what I use in the next screen. The trim shake, Caroline likes using the vanilla trim shake along with, or actually she likes using chocolate with peanut butter, and like you could add anything in berries to it, just mix it up a bit. And they have the vegan version of it too, because I think that one doesn't come from a animal whey. It comes from like pea, like a pea whey or pea protein of some kind. And for myself, I like using the vanilla trim shake. Either you could put lime in it. It tastes almost like a key lime pie, and then if you put wild orange in another vanilla trim shake, it kind of tastes like an orange creamsicle. So, and I use this as like a supplement or a meal replacement. So I would try to eat my breakfast, in the morning, small breakfast, and or using the trim shake, and then eating a small lunch like either like a salad or something small, and or a trim shake. And then lastly, I would do a small salad or something small, because at the end of the day, you don't want your stomach to be digesting a lot. All right, so you want to do the heavier stuff in the morning, and then as you go throughout the day, you want to get smaller. And it's okay if you have snacks in the middle, because that's what I do. I eat apples and anything that I would want to do in the middle of the day. And if I started doing intermittent keto or keto, and then I would eat something with more of a protein base, or more of like what they call fat bombs that you can make with like coconut oil, coconut powder, coconut oil, cocoa powder, and either stevia or like an alternate sweetener. You can even use something on like a low glycemic level, like even like honey, if you want to do like a low glycemic level. If you want to do keto, don't eat bananas and watermelon, because they're pretty high in sugar. All right, so these are some of the other things that we've used. We kind of talked a little bit about being more confident. The frankincense and the peppermint I use every single morning. It's more of like a cognitive uplift. And the yarrow palm I use to create more of a balance, a feel of, it's almost like a feel of knowing what you know you need to do. It's a weird one, but yarrow palm, they used it during battles in like Rome. I forgot the name of the, who was it? Forgot the name of that battle. But anyway, they used it. The soldiers used to use it to give them confidence to go into battle during Roman times. The yarrow was being used for that. All right. So so this is what we kind of like do as a routine. So if you have the Slim and Sassy by itself, I used to use 3 to 5 drops 3 times a day. The metabolic blend soft gels, if you have them instead, just take one soft gel, try that first 3 times a day. So one soft gel has 5 drops in it. All right, so you could start using it yourself and see how, engage how your body's reacting to it. Sometimes for me, when I first started it, I started with 1, and then it wasn't as reactive enough, so I started using 2. When I started using 2, it was I could feel my energy level going up. I could feel my cravings going down. So you could start gauging on your own body to see how it actually works. I took all my supplements. All right, so I took 2. It's basically 2 caps per bottle, 2 times a day. Basically 12 capsules all day long. You could break them up during some of the one set in the morning and one set in the evening, because sometimes I've heard people that take them all in the morning, and I could be one of the ones that take them all in the morning. And then when I heard Dr. Hill say, make sure you split them up, because if you take them all in the morning, you're just gonna have enough energy to the point of maybe midday or 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and then you're not gonna have any more energy. So you'd rather have it till midday and then have another oomph of energy if you take it in midday and then in the evening. So some people, like I said, gauge it for your body, is due to the fact that some people might be more sensitive to certain things that might be more of an uplift. Like one of our leaders, she can't take Slim and Sassy too close to the afternoon because then it'll keep her awake. I'm telling you, energy level is amazing, but I'd rather sleep sometimes, right? Because our body does need sleep, because our cortisol levels, we don't want that to be out of whack either. And of course, like I said, 3 to 5 times a week, I would exercise. Moderate, I would do 30 to 40. I've been doing more like 20 to 30 or so. And like I said, before exercise and recovery, please use Deep Blue. Deep Blue, not only is it amazing for exercise, but exercise, you have your blood flow going. So I have the tendency sometimes of having like headaches, or like if I lift too much, or if I know that I'm going to be tense the next day, I'll have either a headache or as like being lightheaded. So I put some Deep Blue on my temples and along my forehead on the top, and it'll start relieving my headache right away, because it opens up the I was gonna say airways. I'm like, I don't have lungs up here. It opens up the capillaries, I guess, the veins that are up here, and it starts oxygenating them, just because of that, due to the fact that it has peppermint in it as well. So it helps the recovery time as well, because that's what happens with your muscles, because you have lactic acid being built up, and that's why you feel that burn. When you put peppermint on it along with the blue tansy, it starts reducing that lactic acid, which doesn't make you feel sore the next day. All right, so basically that's our routine. It's not something that's rocket science or anything like that, but it has to do more with keeping the routine, keeping consistency on the way your body is reacting to certain of the supplements. But the point of it is you just have to do it. And we really didn't keep like a journal in regards to, this is working and this is not working. We just knew that the Slim and Sassy was working, and we just kept going, and we just kept the mind saying, there's certain things that are doing better in our lives. Like example, I'm playing more with my kids. I didn't really look back and wanted to jot down some things. I was, my belt was on my next notch, so I kept on going, and I started losing more weight. I went from like a 3X down to a 2X and a 1X, and then now a large. And I fit in a medium once, and then we put it in the washer and it didn't work anymore. So I just stick with larges now. But like I said, these results may vary for you guys, but the point of it is that please put it into effect that you can do this and be able to lose the weight that you want to, because it's not only about the weight, it's also about the why to create this. So anyway, this is how we lost 250 pounds. Do any of you have any questions? Let me go ahead and stop the recording really quick, And we'll go ahead and start the questioning.